Good morning, guys. Okay, it's Monday the 23rd of April. I've just been triggered into a short position after this pretty strong engulfing candle right here at 8:55 a.m. So a few different things with the trade. What I'll do is I'll take you through the setup, but also with the trade. The MA200 is sitting just underneath my entry. So I had just enough distance to the moving average for me to be happy to get into the trade, but ideally, this would be completely out of the way. And what we can see is the market is finding a little bit of support so far at this level. It may just find support and then press up toward my stop. However, the market has done quite a few different things that I was looking for in terms of, well, first thing is we rejected at this key resistance level in overnight trading. So this is weekend trading. As the market came back online, we gapped up, we then rejected, and then this morning so far we've tried to break down once, and then as we've broken back up we've had rejection, and then a nice strong engulfing candle right here at 8:55. So I was still happy to get into the short position. Now if I bring up the Sunday chart, so from the Sunday analysis, this is the level that I went over. It's lining up with that gap on the daily time frame. Market's pressed up into it, gapped up over the weekend, seen a little bit of rejection coming in, and then this morning we've still been testing at this area. So really I was looking for any sort of short position, as long as we didn't start breaking up and breaking out at the top of this zone at 390, any sort of short position, and I would have been happy to sell. It was lining up with one of the key levels from the Sunday analysis, and then especially because we rejected as we tried to gap up and break away from this zone over the weekend. We then had rejection. We've pressed back up again, we've seen rejection. It's given me all of the signs, and I was happy to get into this trade. Really, I'm looking for 8 points at a minimum, but I want to see if we do start breaking down. I want to be a little bit careful of previous swing low and also the zone just down below at 7361. The one thing going against the trade for me at present is that MA200 on the 5-minute time frame. You can see we found a little bit of support there, but what I would add in is another confluence that I had was the MA200 on the daily time frame, sitting just up above this R1 zone. Very often, MA200 acts as support and resistance on the daily time frame. It's just, I wouldn't just use it by itself, but it's definitely adding in another confluence for me. So I was just happy to get short pretty much on any signal. I was really looking for any signal pre-market, which we didn't get, and then as we started to break up I was looking for any signal. We got this pin bar right here, which would have actually been quite a nice entry just down below the low. However, because the market started to break up like this and test above the level, I wanted to wait for a more recent signal candle. So we'll see how we get on with this one anyway. Pretty strong support coming in at present. I'm still happy with the trade. Won't be coming out of it unless we start to break down toward this previous little swing point. I am looking for the rejection to come into the FTSE and the sell to come down toward this zone down below. If that doesn't happen, I will remain in this trade, and the stop level you can see is set just up above these previous highs on the chart. Okay, we're still in the trade, just still testing at the entry point basically. We're back on the daily time frame here from the Sunday analysis. I've just added in that MA200 so you can see where it's sitting. The market actually came up and tested almost exactly at it as we gapped up over the weekend, and the rejection has started to come up. So it was just another added confluence to the setup for me. Really what I was looking at as the market opened was if we had spiked up. Now we did spike up at 8 AM here, but we only reached Friday's high at 7374. What I was looking for is if we spiked up toward 7381, which would be potentially for me the market spiking up and clearing out stops that have been positioned above these previous overnight swings, then I was going to look to get short on a blind position with around about a 20-point stop. We didn't get that. The market spiked up a little bit, and then we started to reject, and then we started to spike back up once again, and then as soon as we started to come up once again, I was just basically looking for any short position, as I mentioned. Because I have quite a few different confluences for the trade, I was pretty happy to just get into the sell position on a relatively simple signal candle. As long as, you know, we didn't start breaking up, making new highs, and then I'd be coming back down to test at the previous swings or something like that. We pressed up. We didn't really go anywhere. We got the rejection. I was more than happy to get into the trade. We've now got the trade running down below right here. As I've mentioned, I'm looking for around about 7 or 8 points. The only problem is, you know, it's coming down now, it's testing on this potential zone of support, which is not ideal, but I am still happy to hold on to this trade at present, unless we start to get, you know, reversal signals down here, signals that I would consider for a buy position. If we start to get those, then I would obviously come out of the trade. But we're coming down now, we are starting to test. Hopefully we get a nice breakdown to the target area. Okay, so we have bounced a couple of times now off of the 61 level. I'm still happy to be in the trade. What I would say is potentially higher risk now. You know, we're testing at a potential support level. We have had the bulls stepping in once, but then it has rejected, and now they are stepping in once again. However, because it's lining up with so many different confluences, you know, so many different things that I was looking at, and now we have broken down below 1, 2, 3, and this small swing right here, fourth swing, I'm still happy to remain in the trade, looking for that breakdown toward really the previous lows, you know, 7 to 8 points on this trade. But when you're in any trade, you know, it's about weighing up what you're doing. So would I just hold on to this trade if I'd just taken this off of, let's say this is a resistance zone, I've got the engulfing candle, it comes down and it hits my next potential support zone. Would I just hold it blindly for 7 or 8 points? Absolutely not. But because it's lining up with so many different things, so we've already gone over the Sunday analysis video, we've already gone over the MA200, we've gone over how it's rejected multiple times in pre-market trading, and also how I was looking for sellers to step into this market. That was also from the Sunday video. Because of all of those things, I'm happy to give it a little bit more wiggle room, because for me it becomes a higher probability trade, and the higher probability trades, those are the ones that I want to let run to decent profit targets. You know, I don't just want to take what I consider a good trade and then jump out for 1 or 2 points, because over the long term it's not going to leave me as a profitable trader. You know, you need to always be thinking about your long-term goals, not each individual trade. So for me at present, I'm still happy to remain in this trade, looking for that breakdown. There's nothing to say that it won't hit this level and come up and take me out, because then potentially my analysis is a little bit off. Potentially what I'm looking for isn't what the market is ready or wants to do at present, and that's all part of trading. You know, you just have to accept the losses. But when you are happy to be in a trade, you also have to be willing to hold onto the trade. Because if you just get scared and, you know, jump out every time you get a little bit of profit, and then your losses are full position losses, it's just, you know, you're not going to be profitable. Unfortunately, part of being a trader is taking risks, and it's also a lot of uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen at any point when we get into a trade. We just have our analysis, and then we are looking for and hoping for that analysis to be correct. Okay, so we've just popped back up to retest this zone as potential resistance now. A little bit more bullish sentiment than I would like, to be honest. Let's see how we get on here. I am looking for the rejection to come back in relatively quickly, and for the market to just drop back down and retest lower on this zone down below. Okay guys, the market is at present pretty close to my stop level. So I gave it a little bit of wiggle room down here, let it have a few bounces. And then now what it looks like, unfortunately, is we've bounced and the market has then gained the 2 intraday swing points. And it looks like we are now trying to hold at that level. So I'm just watching the market. It may just pop up and take me out at the stop level. Really, when I got into the trade, as I mentioned, I was looking for any sort of sell position up here. And then we got this one with the engulfing candle, and the way the stop was sitting with this engulfing candle, you know, above a lot of these intraday, not intraday, sorry, pre-market swings, it was lining up to be a good position. So I was happy to give it the wiggle room, looking for that breakdown really toward pivot point down here. Haven't got that as yet, and we are now looking like we are, well, we're at least attempting to break up. really, it depends if the buyers are going to find value holding above the previous intraday swings. I'm still watching the market. I'm going to wait and see, but yeah, it's losing a little bit of the weight behind the trade. I was just hoping for potentially a little bit of bouncing sideways between these two zones and then the breakdown. We're also coming up to the US Open. US Open can put in pretty strong movements just as we're coming into that 230 Open. So we'll see how we get on anyway. It is pretty close to my stop level now. As I mentioned, up above these intraday swings, it's not really ideal for this trade at present. Okay, so the market is now right up toward that stop level. I would be quite surprised actually if it does not pop up and take me out. In all honesty, unfortunately, it just hasn't had the breakdown that I was looking for. I gave it wiggle room. I let it bounce off of the 361 level, that daily support and resistance area. Unfortunately, it's just broken up. It's regained a couple of intraday swings and it is looking like it is holding at those swings and is pressing higher. Still happy with the trade. Really, you know, as I mentioned, I was looking for any sort of sell position coming into today. We got a nice engulfing candle here now. On top of the engulfing candle, what I was looking at was the fact that with the engulfing candle, the stop that I was going to be using was above a lot of these previous early morning swing points. So it was lining up for a good position. If we were going to get that stronger move down, I was happy to hold on to this one and look for it. But it just looks like it is not going to come in at present. It's just the way it goes. Even when you do all your analysis and you're happy with the trade, sometimes, you know, you still lose the setup. So I'm just watching it. We are very close to the stop now, so I'm just going to leave it. If it does pop up and take me out at the stop level, I'll just take that as the loss. Okay guys, so the market did actually just pop up and take me out of the trade, basically as I stopped that video. A little bit annoying, but as I've mentioned, I was happy with the setup. So what it really means is for the last sort of week, I've just pretty much been going sideways. You know, having the wins, having the losses, but not really doing anything at all. Now, as a trader, those periods are always going to come. And it's really important if you are going through one of those periods that you continue to follow your plan and you remain disciplined. Because really that's when, for me, the difference between a beginner and a professional starts to shine through. You know, the beginners, they start to make mistakes, start to change their trading plan, and they suffer further losses and damage their account. Whereas if you've been trading for a long time, you just continue powering through, knowing that eventually your trades will come back. Okay guys, so that is everything for today. As always, I hope that was helpful. I hope you all had a good trading week. I'm James Orr, and thank you.